Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome if you are new, and welcome back if you are back. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I hope you are having a very fun and relaxing weekend. To the men and women who serve our great country, thank you for your service. And for those souls that we have lost, may you rest in eternal peace. I was working on two sections of this canvas, and I decided that I was going to leave the drills out that had the gold foiling on them to do with you guys. So it's that design that you see right there. And I will tell you, it was a little bit of a struggle. It's so funny how you make plans to do something, and I couldn't wait to get to this spot. I was working around it, saving it for Self-Care Sunday. And I thought this is going to be so easy because I only have to put one drill in, and the humidity and the heat was so bad yesterday. And I don't know if you have this problem too, or I don't even know if it is. I think that this is what it is. The drills begin to stick, and they become staticky. And the drills were sticking to my hands, and they were jumping up out of the little boat there. And you'll see me go through a number of diamond painting pens because it's like Goldilocks. I was like looking for the right one. Do I use wax? Do I use putty? But eventually I get a flow going here. And I just love the way that this is coming out. And at the end, I'll give you a full shot of the portrait that I have to put away because I'm having company. But let's get on with Self-Care Sunday. So this Self-Care Sunday is called Creating Your Day. And I have been a fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza ever since I saw the movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? My girlfriend took me to this movie, and it was a big deal at the time. It was back in 2004, and it was released in the United States. And it was a big deal because it was a discussion about spirituality and science. And it got a lot of pushback, but it got a lot of praise too. So if you know the film, comment down below. And what did you think of it? So there were a lot of players in this film. It was a documentary style interviews, and there were some computer generated animated graphics, which everyone really loved because it was giving you an idea of in fact, there's isn't there a Disney or a Pixar movie now that has to do with your emotions? It was kind of like that in the movie. And so it was giving you an idea of what your emotions do, and what kind of chemicals you release in your body. So everyone really liked that part of the movie. And there was a story to it that was navigating the people that were in the movie. But for me, the biggest impact was Dr. Dispenza. And the narrative of the story was to explore scientific concepts and philosophical concepts. It was topics such as quantum mechanics, consciousness, the interconnectedness of the universe. And the interviews were from all different backgrounds. There were scientists, there were mystics. My girlfriend drug me to this because she was a big fan of Ramtha, who I didn't know, and I really didn't make that big of an impact on me. Again, but when Dr. Joe came on, as he's so affectionately known, he discussed the nature of reality and how we perceive our perception shapes our understanding of the world. And the movie, broke this down very easy by using a character, and it was played by Marlee Matlin. And she is embarking, throughout her day, and it becomes a journey of self-discovery. And she starts encountering various situations that change her understanding of reality based on the people that she's meeting in the film that are explaining reality to her and trying to bridge the gap between science and spirituality. And it made you question your beliefs and really consider the a greater awareness for personal transformation and how you can do that by your thoughts and your emotions and the big part that they play in perception. So when Dr. Joe came on, he was talking about creating your day and how he creates his day. And for me, it just was the biggest impact. And for a lot of people, it was because it just set fire to wanting to know, you know, this was not someone that was really highlighted in the movie. He had like maybe a 5 minute scene. And for me, it was the biggest part of the movie. And I wanted to know more about him and know more about his work. So, who is Dr. Joe? Right now, I'm reading a book of his. It's called Becoming Supernatural. He is a neuroscientist. That's my wheelhouse. I love neurophysiology and neuroscience. He's a chiropractor. He's doing work now based on the mind body connection, um, based on meditation, and based on self healing. So, Becoming Supernatural is in my library of books that have changed my mindset. What I really like about Dr. Joe's books is that he writes as if he is speaking to you face to face. He knows that this information might be information that you are encountering for the first time, and so that maybe it's a little intense or it could be confusing. So, throughout the book, he repeats concepts and over, and which I really appreciate. He just doesn't go into one thing and then another. He'll go into a new thing, but he'll go back to refresh your memory about what you've already learned. And he builds upon each concept, and he keeps reminding you of what was already discussed, which I really appreciate. Because sometimes, you go into a chapter and it's like, well, wait a minute, what did he say in the last chapter? And you got to keep going back and forth. So I really liked that about his writing, and I love Becoming Supernatural. And I'm kind of like just reading it in little bits and pieces instead of trying to devour the whole thing. So after the movie, I remember being on the internet and hearing celebrities and all these people that were like into mind body connection, which was a big part of where I was in my world. Um, talk about Dr. Joe. Did you see this guy in the movie? Did you see the movie? Did you see him? Did you see how he talks about creating his day? And a magazine, I can't remember which one, actually did a transcript of his discussion. And I remember tearing it out and I made copies of it. But the page that I tore out, I put in my journal. And the copies I glued inside all my future journals. So it would be the first thing that I saw when I opened my journal in the morning. I would always have it. And I'm going to share it with you here because I think hearing Dr. Joe's words would be better than me trying to explain them to you. So here is a direct transcript of Dr. Joe from the movie. I wake up in the morning and I consciously create my day the way I want it to happen. Now, sometimes because my mind is examining all the things that I need to get done, it takes me a little bit to settle down and get to the point of where I'm actually intentionally creating my day. But here's the thing. When I create my day and out of nowhere, little things happen that are so unexplainable, I know that they are the process or the result of my creation. And the more that I do that, the more I build a neural net in my brain, that I accept that that's possible. It gives me the power and the incentive to do it the next day. So if we're consciously designing our destiny, if we're conscious from a spiritual standpoint, throwing in with the idea that our thoughts can affect our reality or affect our life because reality equals life, then I have this little pact that I have when I create my day. I say I am taking this time to create my day and I'm infecting the quantum field. Now, if it is in fact that the observer is watching me the whole time that I'm doing this and there's a spiritual aspect to myself, then show me a sign today that you paid attention to any one of these things that I created and bring them in a way that I won't expect. So I'm as surprised at my ability to be able to experience these things and make it so that I have no doubt that it's coming from you. That's how I live my life, in a sense, all day long, thinking about being a genius or thinking about being glory and thinking about the power of God and thinking about being unconditional love. So that little clip from the movie was the extent that Dr. Joe was on screen, and it just set everybody ablaze that was interested in this type of neuroscience and spirituality. And really what he's talking about here is breaking patterns. There's so many different ways to come at something. And being a yoga teacher, and I would see my students when we would come into the end of class, for vinyasa, they're great. It's a cadence that it's one breath per movement. So you inhale, raise your arms, exhale, lean forward, inhale, come halfway up, exhale, touch your toes. I'm doing a very rough sun salutation in my head, but my students that are like a type A personality, they can do that. They've stopped thinking. They like that cadence. Breathe in, move, breathe out, move, breathe in, move, breathe out, move. But then when it would come to, now we've worked the body and we've cleared the mind, and let's get into now sealing our practice and coming into Shavasana. This is something that they just can't do. And that's okay. I don't think that it changes your practice in any way. I don't think that you are less of a student if you can't do a posture. We're all built differently. We all have our own charms and challenges. But there's a way to modify anything. And, for a type A student that can't, lay down on the floor and do Shavasana, I would go over and, I would see them fidgeting, and I would ask if I could make them more comfortable, and just raising them up a little bit, placing a bolster underneath them, and not being completely flat down on the floor, but being up a little bit was enough to let them be comfortable and be able to enjoy Shavasana. So with Dr. Joe, the way that Dr. Joe starts his day, and he's saying in the beginning that, it takes me a minute to settle down because I got all these things in my world that I'm doing, and I can't, really get clear about what it is that I want my intention to be. So I do that in the morning. I create my day. I find it very difficult to get up in the morning and sit there and meditate, whether it's my eyes closed or my eyes open. Now, I can meditate very nicely during the day as a break, but in the morning to, get up and be in that half sleep and begin to meditate, that's not for me. So I don't do it. And what I do is I meditate differently, and I meditate by writing, and I come down, and stream of consciousness writing is where I can, create my day, but also do that brain dump that Dr. Joe was talking about in the beginning. Like, it helps me settle down. I might be anxious. Like today, I'm a little anxious. I have a house full of people coming over for Memorial Day. And even though I'm, 3/4 of the way there, I'm, still anxious about the things that I have to do. And so I get up in the morning and I write, and I brain dump that all out of me. And then I think about, well, I want to create my day, and how do I want my day to go, and how do I want this party to go, and what do I see myself doing? So I'm the observer. So that's what Dr. Joe is talking about, being the observer into this day that you're creating. And if there is an observer, because we know that the field changes, the quantum field changes when it's being observed. It's going along, but if you're observing it and what it's doing, it changes. And I think it was Dr. Fred Wolf that actually explained that really well in the movie. So that's what Dr. Joe is talking about. And he's also talking about venturing into the unknown. So most of us, I don't even know what the percentage is, but I think it's very high. We go into one day and we flow into the next and the next and the next. We do the same things. Now, I like my morning routine. I get up in the morning. I, get myself ready for the day. And when I'm out of the shower and I'm dressed and my makeup is on, I don't even come downstairs yet. I'm doing my morning routine. I'm fixing my bedroom. Tidying up any spaces that, things just kind of land. When you make space, if you live with other people, they're like, oh, a space, let me drop stuff here. So I got to go back again and do that all over again. Then, I clean up my upstairs, I vacuum, and then I come down the steps. And then it's like, okay, what's waiting for me down here? So I like my morning routine, and I am kind of on autopilot, but I don't want to be on autopilot the rest of my day. And that goes for diamond painting too. And I think that's how I came up with so many tips when I did my video on tips and tricks. Like I am in a meditative state at times when I put my music on and I'm thinking about things and I'm in a different type of meditation, yes. But I'm also diamond painting and I'm thinking like, not how can I do this better? I'm not trying to change the wheel here or anything, but things enter into my mind about, well, why don't you try this? Or how would this look? Or, and that's what happens when you start to clear the field in your mind and you clear all the junk out and you make way for a new pathways to come in. And that's something else that, Dr. Joe was talking about, that, I want to, if this makes me excited to do this, and I'm creating a new new neural net. I'm getting ahead of myself because it's so much information. A new neural net. So I'm rewiring my brain and I'm venturing into the unknown and I'm looking for a different outcome than the one that I have day in and day out. So what is the benefit of all that? Well, you'll find yourself in situations where, your mind's wired, okay? So if you change part of your day, like let's just say I didn't get up in the morning and do my routine, and I decide that I'm going to take a phone call. And it's a phone call that's like maybe a difficult discussion. And, I find myself getting angry or upset about this situation. And then I try and get back to my day. But then it happens again and again and again. Same, and I've been in this situation, and it's always family, and, you're trying to sort out your differences, and you're getting on the phone, and who's not listening to who, and you're just upset over and over and over again. But let's just say now I decide I'm going to create my day. I am not going to get on the phone. I am not going to have this discussion. And if I do, I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to go into this pattern. I'm going to rewire my brain. That's where, when you're doing it before the event comes up, right? Before the, the explosion with the family or whatever situation it is that you're in. When you begin to interrupt your day before there's a problem, you're better at interrupting your thought pattern when you're in the situation. Because if you start to wire that situation where in the morning you're getting up and you're talking to someone and it's an upsetting situation, and then you decide, well, I'm going to sit and diamond paint. You know what your brain's going to do? It's going to be like, oh no, this is where you get yourself really upset. This is what you've trained your brain to do. This is where you get really upset. And so, you know what? If you're not going to make that phone call, I'm going to, interrupt your diamond painting, and I'm just going to keep hammering you with these thoughts, and I'm just going to keep on doing things, dropping, your stylus, maybe spilling the drills, because this is where you get upset, and this is what you've taught me. So you're now taking control of your mind and what you think about, and you stop yourself and you say, instead of getting now caught up in, you're aware now. It's not that you're diamond painting and you're not ready to diamond paint because this is something that you wanted to do and you wanted to enjoy. This is now where you stop yourself and you say, I know what this is. I'm getting myself all upset because this is what I've trained myself to do. But I'm going to now stop and I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to take a few deep breaths. And I'm going to visualize. I'm going to set a new neural pathway into relaxation. I'm going to erase that memory. And your mind really doesn't know. I mean, if it's happening in the moment that it's happening, or if it's just happening because you keep, you've made this groove, like a needle across a record that's skipping. For those of you that are too young, I'm trying to think of something else, but you've carved a groove, and you're stutter stepping into that routine every day, and we don't want to do that. We want to create our day. Now, I could get into the neuroscience behind the concept, because the way that Dr. Dispenza explains it is that our brains are harnessing this neuroplasticity and an RAS system. And that stands for reticular activating system. So neuroplasticity and positive thinking are capable of rewiring themselves, that's the neuroplasticity, based on your thoughts and experiences. And by consistently focusing on positive outcomes, we can create new neural pathways that support these experiences. So that's the science behind it. The RAS, the role of the reticular activating system, that's the part of the brain which filters information and influences what we pay attention to. And this was a big part of the movie, because Marlee Matlin is a photographer, and they used her profession as a photographer to see what she was paying attention to. And I believe in the movie, she may have been going through a divorce or a separation, and she has to go, the assignment was to go and do a wedding. And she doesn't want to do a wedding because, her brain is wired now that marriage sucks, and I'm not doing it, and I don't want to put myself in that situation. But she has to, it's her job. And so she goes to photograph the wedding, and you see what she's focusing on. And it's all the negativity of the wedding. Who's not having a good time, who's arguing, who's doing little sneaky little things at weddings, instead of focusing on the benevolence, she is focusing on the malevolence that is happening around her. And so that's the role of the reticular activating system. It's kind of like a camera. It filters the information and influences what we pay attention to. And then that, in effect, influences your emotions. And then that, in effect, influences the chemicals that you have coursing through your body. And that, in effect, now it's your mood and your physiology and the way that you hold your body. And it affects your thinking and your mind and your mood. And so we can grab a hold of this, and we can create a day where, I went through a divorce. Did I feel like going through to a wedding after? I don't know. I can't go back in time, but I know me, and I know that I would choose to not be jaded and bitter about it, about a young couple getting married and embarking on a journey of togetherness. So let's get down to practical tips on how to incorporate all this information and how to practice this in daily life. I told you what I do. I come down in the morning and I sit and I write, and that's from the artist way. And I do my morning pages, 3 pages in longhand. Has to be longhand, no abbreviations, because we want to slow down. And we want to really get underneath all the junk that's laying on our brain and get down to a clear intention. So that's how I do it. But you could maybe set aside 5 minutes each morning, just to visualize how you want your morning to go, and be positive about it. Set some affirmations for yourself. And if writing seems encouraging to you, then of course write. Or maybe you're like, oh, I can't write 3 pages in the morning, I don't want to do that, but at least keep a journal of what you've meditated on and what you visualize for your day, so that you can track your progress and you can reflect on how your intentions are influencing your day. The benefits of this is that it will increase your focus, because now you're paying attention more. It may improve your mood. You may have better stress management and a greater sense of control over your life and how you react to things. We want to turn that reaction into a response. And that's what happens also. You're not so reactive. You've slowed down, you've thought about things, you've meditated, you've visualized, and now you can respond and create the day that you want to have. And if you need a little more explanation about how to following these steps in how you can cultivate a positive mindset to enhance your overall well-being, so just start with step 1. It's a morning meditation and setting an intention. So start your day, find a comfortable space to sit and close your eyes and make it your space. If it's a chair near a window, or if it's just sitting up in your bed, or if it's a private room that you can go into, keep a journal there and a pen. It's a visual that kind of like sets the mood for, well, I know what I'm coming here for. Or maybe you have a candle that you light, or a favorite pillow, or something that's comfortable to sit on. But you're getting yourself all ready for this meditation. 5 minutes, comfortable place to sit, close your eyes, focus on your breath, and keep focusing on the breath, and enter into this calm, meditative state. And then once you're relaxed, then you could begin to set your intentions. You could set clear intentions of how you want your day to unfold. You can visualize specific events, interactions. You can visualize your affirmations for a successful day and the kind of outcomes that you desire. And to get a little bit more detailed in visualization, and I think that this is where people get lost with the law of attraction. They think, well, I'm throwing this out there that this is what I want to attract, and the quantum field is like you're broadcasting to it, right? We're all interconnected in this field that we're living in. But if you are not vibrating, and that's what they forget to tell you in the law of attraction, you have to vibrate at the level of the things that you want. So you can't broadcast and be like, well, I don't want this and I don't want that, and this makes me upset. You're vibrating that energy, you're broadcasting it out to the field, and the field's come right back with it. And then you're kind of like, well, it doesn't work for me because you're not being maybe detailed in your visualization. So imagine each aspect of your day in a vivid detail. See yourself going through the activities, see yourself going through the meetings, see yourself having those interactions and what you expect to have. And that's the positive outcome. And so when you're visualizing these activities and meetings and interactions, you're very calm. And let me tell you something else. You don't have to sit and close your eyes in the morning and meditate and think that that's the only way that you can meditate. I have learned that when I am in these interactions that are upsetting to me, I stop. It's kind of like I'm watching a movie. I might be watching the other person explode in front of me, which is really fun because they're the one that's having all the stress and they're not affecting you and it's making them angrier, but you're just calm. And I have been, I can really just kind of glaze over and get my mind back to that place because I've done this for so long where I'm just like very calm. I'm not going to react. I mean, there have been times, and family members will do this to you because they know you very well. They know just what buttons to push. And it's practice. It's called practice for a reason. It's not easy, but it's not hard. It might be hard in the beginning, but it's going to get easier and you're going to get all the benefit out of it. And then you're going to see that when you are in this, you're vibrating at this state where you're calm and you're clear and that person is just out of control or that situation is out of control, you are the eye of the storm. No matter what kind of storm there is. Just look at, are we coming up into hurricane season? Look at any hurricane that comes across the radar on the map and the Weather Channel. It's the eye that's always calm. It's everything else going on around. You are your own storm. You are the center. You come back to center, and everything else around you can be going crazy, but you know how to stand in your storm and be calm and visualize, even in that moment, the outcome that you want to have. And if you repeat these steps consistently and reinforce your intentions and visualizations, it's a practice that becomes a daily habit. Consistency is key to reprogramming your subconscious mind and creating lasting change. And belief in the process. Trust yourself. Trust the power that you have. Trust that your thoughts and your intentions have the power to influence your reality. And that's where you keep your journal. And then you write that down. And then, like Dr. Joe said, show me something that makes me aware that you're paying attention, the observer, that you're paying attention and you're granting me these things because you've heard me. So that's where it's crucial. Maintaining a strong belief in the process is crucial for the effectiveness. And I believe that by following these steps that Dr. Dispenza teaches, that you could begin to shape your daily experiences and ultimately create a life that aligns with your highest intentions and desires. And I believe that that's where, one day it just blurted out of my mouth, create the world that you want to live in, because it's in there. It's deep in my brain. I create my day. And by creating my day, I've created my world that I want to live in. I don't want to be at the effect of anyone else's mood or anyone else's reality, because people have a lot of different realities today. And I'll just leave that to them. I like my reality, and I don't bend reality at all. It is what it is. That's a basic truth. It is what it is. You could bend it any way that you want. You're not going to get me to believe it. I know what it is because it is what it is. And that's what I believe. And here I am. And this is I'm just looking at the video and what is she doing with a wine bottle? I think I read this on the box of where this kit came from, where they were saying to get something like a bottle or a glass and roll it, not a rolling pin. So I had this bottle of wine. I kept the bottle because it's so heavy. And so instead of rolling it, I'm kind of just holding it. And I think I may have turned the volume up for this. You might be hearing a lot of crunching and cracking because that little roller that I have really wasn't doing the trick. And I'm feeling it after. I'm feeling the canvas after. I'm running my hands along it, because when you run your hands along your canvas, you can feel those little bumps. But now I'm just really engaged with this canvas and how soft and smooth it feels. And the bottle did the trick. And look at Ardell. Look at that section right there. Even though it's doesn't have a burst of color in it, it's a lot of browns and golds. I just love the patterning in it. And I love that red in the background. I'm ready to turn the, yes, there we go. I love that green baseboard with that black and white checkered. And then you have maybe this was a wallpaper or something, because I do believe Adele was probably sitting in her living room in her estate, and with a very rich and textured background. She was sitting in a chair. She is sitting in a chair, and Klimt did that mosaic effect, kind of like a halo around her head, which I really like. And I don't know. I mean, I don't even know that Adele sat for this painting. Did she sit for it? Or was it a photograph that was given to him to create this? Because he did that a lot too. You can kind of see all that gold foiling. I'm so happy that I switched out that drill. And there we have it. Go and create your day. Create a wonderful holiday and enjoy the people and the family and the friends that you may be gathering with today. And I will see you in the next one, which will most likely be on Tuesday. Create the world you want to live in. Bye, my loves. Ciao.